Mercari, thank you for this new feature that most sellers more than likely might not even utilize. Alright guys, if you're not aware, Mercari did end up releasing a new feature, and while I say that most sellers might not utilize it, I know that there will be situations that sellers will utilize it, or even buyers, but probably not for the reasons you might think. What is this feature that I'm talking about? Well, Mercari ended up releasing direct messaging. Now, what's the difference between this and what we currently have? Well, not much actually. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what it is, what the difference is between direct messaging and the other format that we had, and as well as why I believe this was just not that great of a feature or not even something we asked for. So, what is direct messaging? Other than what it already implies, Mercari's direct messaging is that you can communicate with others via the message functionality. A buyer can message a seller about an item listing, make an offer, and or communicate about a purchase. Very reasonable. To communicate with a seller, view an item and tap message seller to open the chat window. If you receive a message, will not be notified in the message center. Now I'm going to go more into that with pictures later on in the video. What is direct messaging? Direct messaging makes it easy to communicate and connect with others outside of listings and purchases. With direct messaging, you may initiate a chat with another user from their profile and see your shared chat interaction and history in the message center. I mean, I guess that's pretty cool, but I mean, not much difference from the item messaging other than one thing, which again, I will go on later on. When should I use direct messaging? You can use direct messaging to connect with other users on a new level. For example, find out what other inventory they have in their trading card collection. I mean, if you're a trading card collection seller, then yeah, that's pretty reasonable. Ask about how they started curating vintage finds. I mean, not to be mean or nothing, but I don't exactly want to get personal with buyers that I have no info about or knowledge about here. It's just a buyer-seller relationship. And I guess unless they're selling something extremely specific that you can't find anywhere else, then I guess. But I have no intentions or desire to really get to know a buyer on a personal level. See if they have more items in your size. Perfectly reasonable. Tell a seller exactly what you are searching for. Again, perfectly reasonable. You can also use direct messaging to discuss transactions and potential sales. How is direct messaging different from item messaging? This is something that I was going to get a little bit more into down the line, other than a few different things. Let's see what this says. The message functionality is the same, but how you start conversation is different. Item messaging started when viewing an item detail page, meaning that when you click on an item, say you have a pair of shoes and then they click on the listing, then that's the only way you could really message a seller about anything actually. Direct messaging started when you view a user's profile page. In addition, direct messaging between users are saved and don't expire. And again, that was something that I did want to get into the video a little bit later in, so stay tuned for that. How does direct messaging work? Want to ask a user about their listing, collection, or more? It's easy. Navigate to the user's profile, tap the message button, your chat interaction history will appear, and you can start a new conversation. Your messages will appear in your message center as usual. Again, I'll get into it a little bit more later. How do you actually go and message a buyer/seller? So I'm just be showing you a series of pictures. In this particular case, I'm be showing you a bag that I ended up selling to a buyer. And the way that you can message them is two different ways, of course. One is that you can message them right here where it says message. That's specifically about the item they buy or an item that you're selling/bought. If you end up clicking on that, you're going to be pretty much used to that window where it shows you the item, if you accepted an offer or anything that's related to that specific item. That's how item messaging works. At least that's the way that we were used to it, of course. Now, the way that direct messaging is going to work is that you click on the buyer's profile. Mind you, I'm just blurring out all this buyer's info because no reason to really show who they are. But either way, I'm just using their profile as an example. You just message them. Once you click message, you're going to be prompted to this window right here, which is basically the direct messaging chat window, which is how you're going to message with the buyer. Any message history that you have with them is going to be saved here. Now, of course, I haven't typed anything, so nothing's going to appear. Now, one main difference between this direct messaging and item messaging is the fact that when you buy an item, like say it's already sold to that person who ended up buying it, and after it's delivered, I believe you only get 2 weeks. I believe it's 2 weeks to actually message the buyers for anything additional. Once that 2 weeks passes, you cannot message them anymore on that specific item. Can they message you on another item? I believe they can, because I think I've had one person actually do that to me before, where after a certain amount of time, they couldn't message me on that specific message anymore, so they ended up going to another one of my items to message me through that way. And I think that's the reason why they ended up making this feature, because after it expires and they have more questions about an item, say they want to return, which of course after 3 days they can't, then I guess that's really the way that you can contact them if you have any more questions. Now, is this really a feature that sellers ask for? Not that I'm aware of. I mean, we definitely got a feature that we were 100% asking for. We finally got 4x6 label formats on Mercari. That was a huge thing that I knew everybody was asking for. Now, it's cool that they gave us this feature, I guess. It's not something that I will be utilizing probably 95% of the time, or maybe 99% of the time, because how many of you guys actually go out to really try to find out how a seller got curated into the niche that they are? I personally don't. I mean, I don't really want to. But there are some things that I believe would be way better spent on Mercari's time than direct messaging. What are those things? Well, let me know in the comments below if you guys agree with what I am going to say, after you hear them, of course. But let me know if you guys agree with what I believe Mercari should be doing. 1, to some extent, let us see the review of what buyers rate us before we have to rate them. That is another thing that I do keep seeing, and I personally have experienced, because you get buyers who you believe you had a great transaction with, you rate them a 5-star, and then once you rate them, we end up getting 1 or 2 stars. Is it a big deal? I mean, thankfully on Mercari it's not too big of a deal, because even though you might have like say 10 1 stars, 2 stars, 3 stars, whatever, if you have a bunch of 5 stars, then it's not really going to matter as much. But say you're barely starting out, that one rating of 1 star can definitely mess you up in the ratings. But that is something that I believe should at least be worked on a different way than what it is now, because as always, Mercari's reasoning for this is the fact that they want a fair marketplace about the experience rather than it being a retaliatory rating, which I completely understand. But let us have a way to even revise a review or anything, because that's something they won't do either. They won't take it away and they won't revise it no matter what. Is it a big deal? I mean, I guess right now it is, because other than that, I don't exactly know what other big things Mercari can do to really change their platforms, but there are a couple things, this being one of them. The next thing that I think they should do is that they should either increase the promotion limits, because doing only 10 a day kind of sucks. It does. I mean, I'd rather do more than 10. It sucks that I have to lower the price, but it is what it is. But let us do 10 a day. Let us have, other than relisting and delisting, which is something that Mercari actually discourages, but I mean, we all know we do it. They have to have another way of letting us put the items back at the top, because we already know Mercari is not a list it and forget it like eBay is. Once you list it and say there's no traction, it's gonna be down all the way in the bottom of the listings, and there's new listings getting listed daily. So they should definitely give us another way to actually promote our items back to the very top, with either, I mean, I wouldn't say lowering the prices by much, or not relisting, delisting, which again, we all do. I actually can't think of any other things that Mercari could do right now, but those are definitely 2 of the biggest ones that I know of right now. If you have any other suggestions, write them in the comments below. I highly doubt it, but maybe Mercari might see this. You never know. You never know who watches these videos, because that'd be awesome if they do. But yeah, guys, so this is the new feature that it is. I know I went off a little ranting at the end, but I believe that that's some things that Mercari could have been working on better than direct messaging. This isn't something that sellers asked for, at least not that I'm aware of. But I guess it's another new feature. I mean, cool. Thank you. If anything were to happen, then cool. So give me your thoughts and opinions on the comments below. What are some features that you want Mercari to actually implement? And what are your thoughts on this feature itself? Is it something that you're going to be using? Is it something that you see that was of big vital importance that Mercari should have released it? Again, what I'm more interested in is knowing what would you tell Mercari that you want implemented into the marketplaces to help you make sales faster, or what feature have you been wanting, just like the 4x6 label, what feature have you been wanting Mercari to implement for a long time now? Let me know that in the comments below. Like I said, changes are always coming to the marketplaces, and while this isn't anything too huge, or just there's very little that is not really going to affect anything sale wise, we know that huge updates are always going to come where it might actually mess some sellers up, where they might get confused, like, oh, how do I make this work? What do I do? What, can someone help me? Those kind of updates can happen, just like the whole USPS ground advantage on eBay. It can happen and it will happen, and it's our jobs to make sure that we can adapt to the change, which is very easy. And you know that you can always come here, because I will always try to give you that information firsthand. So if you like this kind of video, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It will definitely help me out. Also hit that bell to get notified when I make these kinds of videos, whether it's what sold, information, or anything in general. Also give this video a like, as it will definitely let me know that I did a good job with this video and you find my videos helpful and informational for you. Like I said, a lot of changes are always coming to Mercari and any of the marketplaces, and there is one feature on Mercari that you should probably utilize, or at least have turned on, and that is called Mercari Local Pickup. And if you don't know how it works and you're more curious as to how it works and how the whole process is, make sure you click on this video, because that is one feature you should definitely be having on, even if you think you might not get any sales from it. See you for the next one.